This regular board meeting will be recorded and uploaded to our district website. The definitive documentation and decisions of our board are held within our meeting minutes. Any use of an electronic device such as a computer or a cell phone during the meeting by trustees is related to the business of the meeting. The core values that guide our work of our district are respect, compassion, honesty, responsibility, and relationship. So we're going to call our meeting to order at 5:33. Could I please have a mover and a seconder for the agenda? Moved by Bill, seconded by Madeline. Are there any additions to the agenda? All right. Following the question then, all in favor of the agenda as presented? You don't have any presentations or delegations this evening, so we'll move on to trustee engagement and celebrations. Trustee Campbell, Area 4.
I haven't done much since we've been back. Since January, went to the committee meeting. I've been into 2 of my schools just visiting. In December, I went to the bunch of Christmas concerts, the Mingle and Jingles, skating parties. I had a quiet Christmas, and that's all I have to report.
Thank you. Trustee Gillis, Area 3. Oh, I'll come back to you. Okay. I got the signal. Trustee Lehman.
I haven't been back that long yet, but there will be, did have another day of bargaining, I think very successful. And I did attend the Clearview Arena AGM. Just for those that don't know, the Clearview Arena is actually a tri agreement, but the district, so I do represent the board at the AGM.
Trustee Scott Moncrief.
I went to the play twice at the Cultural Center. I enjoyed it so much. Been in touch with most of my schools. Presbyterian has their grad coming up on the 31st. I'm going to, I think Bill is going to. Helen, you're going to? Good. Anyone else? Welcome. Upper Pine is doing very well. 101, I went out to have a look at the construction site. Coming along great. Way further along. Talked to Sean about the Buick School. Everything's good. I just haven't got a hold of Jenny for Upper Pine, or sorry, 101 and wait. Remember?
Vice Chair Snow.
And to all my schools for visits, how they're doing. I'm pretty sure, I can't figure out when our last meeting was, but the North Peace luncheon I went to there. Arranged today with Prince George for when we go down. I'm going to do a visit down there. And program.
He went to that school that we were talking about it. Good.
Yeah.
Trustee Gillis, back to you.
Turn your mic on.
There. Can you hear me? Oh, and then the camera went off. Okay. Oh my goodness, I hate this thing. Anyways, I have very little to report. I haven't done anything since we've been back from Christmas. I come in the school often, but nothing really to report.
Okay. And Trustee Witten sends his regrets tonight because he's ill. So, I got to go before Christmas. I got to go to Central's breakfast. And I quite like it because you get to check in with lots of different employee groups at it. And it's just a nice deal. I attended MLA Keely's open house. Continued my work on the rural and remote network meeting. We had at our last meeting, we had a presentation from ABCDE, which is essentially the deans of teacher education programs added to our understanding of things. I attended the district Christmas dinner and dance, a grievance hearing, labor management meeting, recently a board chair call that I will speak to later in the meeting. Some of the outcome of that is part of the agenda package. District health and safety meeting, the equity scan celebration, where the equity scan report was brought back to the group's parents that have participated in the process of gathering data so they could see that the report was done. On your behalf, I attended the NPA meeting and I've done some initial planning with Stephen for board events. So lots going on, even though we've only been back a short while. Right, moving on then to item number 5 on your agenda, which is the approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of December the 16th. And that is pages 6 to 13 in your agenda package. The time to look at those. Please get a mover and a seconder for the minutes. Moved by Bill, seconded by David. Errors or omissions? I will let you know that the Good Neighbors meeting group that's referenced in the minutes as on January 28th has now been moved to February the 4th. So we'll see what happens then. Calling the question then, all in favor? Carried. Business arising. Thank you to everybody that got to the special board meeting and for Trustee Whitten for continuing to be our BCPC alternate rep. The other action items, with the exception, I think, of fuel expense. Did you bring that back to us? Okay, so we'll keep that on. And then hoping everyone's got their statement of disclosures done. If you haven't, please speak to me about that. Any other business arising with other people? I think that's it. Moving on to item number 6, minutes of the special regular board meeting of January the 13th. Which is pages 14 and 15 in your package. Please get a mover and a seconder. Moved by Ida, seconded by David. Are there any errors or omissions? Calling the question then, all in favor? think there was any business arising from those minutes. Moving on to approval of the excerpts of the regular board meeting of November 18th, which is page 16 in your package. Item 7 on the agenda, page 16 in your package. A quick read. Can I get a move in the second, please? Moved by Madeline, seconded by Ida. Any errors or omissions? Calling the question, all in favor? Right. Announcements and reminders. Did you want to speak to the one with the Indigenous Education Council?
Yes, that'd be great. Thank you. On February, let's pull up the date here, 13th. We organized to meet with the Indigenous Education Council. They have a meeting that day, so the whole council was coming together. But specifically as a sort of a get together with the board and looking at the Bill 40 would be from about 12 to 1:30. So it'd be with lunch and a meeting of the board and the Indigenous Education Council. That's leaned to the board advance, which is a dinner that night and then the full day the next day.
Where is it?
So the meeting with the IEC will be at the Grand Haven Indigenous Education building. Thank you.
The board advance, the 13th is not on here. That is just the evening, is that correct?
The evening, yeah.
Yeah, the only thing you'll see currently is the evening piece and then the all day Friday.
And we're looking at 8:30 to 4:30 on the Friday.
So for the 13th, at what time was?
With the Indigenous Education Council from noon till about 1:30.
And then when is the evening? Because it's not on this one.
You're right, it's 5 to 7. And it's two parts, really part of that consultation thing between the board and the IEC, because part of that governance is to actually consult with the Indigenous Education Council, as well as clarification on where we're at in terms of the questions around Bill 4.
Is there, I think I sent you invited for that.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, you betcha.
I just wanted, because it's been discussed, you guys to have a heads up that that's coming. And I like the concept of going to Grand Haven
Yes.
and doing it there versus there's a different object to it. So I like that concept.
So if you don't mind, Leah, you'll send out an invite for that event, please. Thank you.
12 to 1:30.
Correct.
Could I ask to maybe swap out the staff February one? Somebody for January, because I'm not able to.
Okay. So you,
I'm on for, well, somebody else, I'm just by myself in February and I may not be here, so, but I would like to swap with either Bill or you, Helen.
we can make that work. Does it work to swap for you?
Yeah.
Okay. So got that covered.
I also will check the calendar
Yeah,
that day for a second person to be there.
thank you.
You threw some times out there, Alan.
Yeah.
The 14th,
Mhm.
on here it says 9 to 3.
No, that was after we met. So we met after the agenda was done, looking at 8:30 to 4:30. We did 3 different chunks of time. And we actually, as we started talking, it got. So. We don't want to go till 9:00 though. So yeah, it's a little bit different time than spending this here. So we can, Stephen said, can we go a little longer? Yes. Anything else that you're seeing there? And I did send you the information for Presbyterian graduation, so. That's it. All right. Moving on then to senior staff reports, and we'll move on to the superintendent's report, which starts on page 17 in the agenda.
Thanks, Ellen. Item number 1 is the activity report for HR. And this is my online report. Just a reminder to everyone, public, media, it's time to register for kindergarten. So spread the word. The sooner we get the numbers in, the more accurate our projections and planning can be. And so far, it looks like there's been quite a bit of interest and lots of registration. So thank you for that.
Well, that's good for Angela, because at labor management, the secretary said there wasn't as much and they were worried. And I watched Angela go, I tried.
Yeah. No,
What'd she say?
Jared told us there was quite a bit of a bump in registrations when the communication first came out. So that's good.
Okay, good.
Under student learning, as per the board strategic plan and intellectual development, just some highlighting some workshops coming up around guided reading specifically. One of our retired teachers in New York will be getting sessions. We sometimes assume that our teachers all understand this particular approach, but with lots of new people, we have to just keep going around with the bus and doing some professional development on some of those academic pieces. And sorry, Tom, do you have a
I was
question?
going to say, I'm hoping that for the virtual components that we're going to record those so that somebody could access them at a different time. if it didn't
Absolutely.
work.
Yeah, good idea. I'll double check.
Because building that stockpile
Yeah,
of virtual and important things like guided reading would be.
absolutely. Great point. I'll follow up on that. Under student learning for human and social development, a few things here. Well, the first one actually is the Generation Health Community, and I wanted to highlight this for our public, where any northern citizens can access this these free activities. They're virtual and they go through a number of different topics and themes, and families can also qualify for free credits for recreation programming in their community. And you can go online and click on the link, check out exactly what that program offering looks like. And that's offered by the YMCA. Under student learning, career and skill development, a piece from Mr. Campbell here. They're sharing a menu of virtual career activities. They're hosting between January and spring break as part of the BC Ministry of Education and Child Care's Future Ready Action Plan. So you can sign up there if you're a teacher with your groups and classes to take advantage of that. As Mr. Snow would remind us, consider teaching as a career. And we're getting to the business end of the application deadline for ACOT. In fact, it's January 31st. So if you're still thinking about it, you've got 11 days to sign up for the ACOT program here locally. It's been around for a long time. Under people and development, Trustee Gilbert mentioned the staff Christmas dinner and dance, and so it was nice to have people from a cross section of our district attending. And this is just a couple of pictures of the band students who serenaded us on the way into the dinner, so we're always appreciative of that. Some information around the Art Hub for staff as usual. Also, I think it was Trustee Whitten that raised the question around the online courses offered to parents and public by the Erase organization, and so I'll put that information in here. There are several. January 14th, of course, is done, but there's another 5 sessions that public can sign up for.
I think they're all the same session from looking at it.
I'll double check,
I
but
think, I don't,
okay,
because I looked today
yeah.
and it looks like it's the same preamble.
Well, it
for
is
each
because it
side.
says this session, so you have several choices of when you can take it. And it is a bit of a follow-up to last year's coursework and webinars that they offered to the public around digital citizenship and online safety. Truth and Reconciliation, it was nice to have Burtbo's profile what they're doing in their PE classes. So it wasn't just an event. It was kind of an ongoing systemic piece with their PEH curriculum and connecting to the Indigenous cultures and community. And under Take 3, North Peace has submitted some pictures of their musical Matilda. And that was in December, of course, involving our district band as well at high school level. And so thanks to all involved in that. That's a huge undertaking, put on a musical. Mom Murray has submitted an example of the early act group supporting our community, and also the NPAA during the Christmas dinner. Everybody brought items that were then distributed to our senior citizens. So thanks to those groups as well. And North Peace again, finally, it's the pictures of their holiday lunch, and it's quite an undertaking to serve about 1,200 people in their gym. And they were cooking turkeys for a couple of days, and it went well by all accounts. That is my online report. Item number 2 for a separate motion out of district field trips, and item number 3 also for a motion is under community coaches, and that's my report.
Could I please move it and second, moved by David, seconded by Bill for Stephen's report. That is with those motions that we will be pulling out. So, continue report for discussion. Any questions, first of all, about the HR summary that is in your page 17 in the agenda package?
I do.
Okay.
I want to make sure I'm reading this right, Stephen. So correct me if I'm wrong,
I don't know.
please. The way I'm looking at this, new assignments and then leaves of absence, they're even, like 4 and 4.
Okay.
We break even there. But resignations and retirements 5.
Okay.
So does that mean we're like -5 right there?
Not necessarily. Those resignations or retirements could be announcements of such. And so it may not be in effect immediately.
Okay.
We sometimes get those letters at any time for administrators as well as for teachers. So I'm not 100% sure, Bill, if that's
Okay.
right.
So it could be a letter saying I'm done that.
Late down the road, September,
June or
June,
whatever.
correct. Because teachers, they also have to do that by a certain period of time in order to qualify for the retirement bonus.
Want to make sure we weren't.
Yes.
Good question.
Mine report. ACOT had lots of interest in crossing the fingers.
I'm not sure.
Too early to ask.
It's a little early, but yeah, and Mr. Hart will be kind of part of that panel that looks at those applications. So I'll get a sense from him though and let you know. Because they have struggled with numbers in the past, to be perfectly honest with you, to fill every a yearly cohort.
I've seen a thing on social media the other day saying that with people asking about it,
Good.
saying they were interested in it. Kind of.
I'll point them in
And
this.
some of our staff reply to them, tell them, like I've taken it, please get a hold of me kind of thing, and I'll tell you about it.
Fantastic. Good to hear.
I mean, staff isn't like teachers and principals. Kind of.
Yeah. Right on.
That race presentation was decent last year. So,
Yeah.
so add to your knowledge there's.
I have to admit, I haven't gone on the SD62 website, so it's probably double cross, but the student learning, like from the offered by the YMCA and Erase, is that also on the website on the SD60? Or do people have to go into your report to see it?
Great question. First of all, the Erase ones can be accessed directly from the Erase website itself. And otherwise, it would have to be from my report, which is on the USD website. You're
No,
correct.
I'm just wondering, because sometimes I feel and I mean, some of it is my neglect of thought, because
No.
I'm social media, but I always feel that sometimes information hard to find or have access to, and I think this is good things. I mean, I will people direct you to your report, but if
No, but I totally hear what you're saying. For example, in the past, I think last time I did send out something to the SUPAC and DPAC group specifically on
example.
this. So I'll do that with this as well. Because it's not enough just to know that it's out there somewhere on the
Somewhere.
internet.
Yeah.
I'll send an email to the PAC president, so to the DPAC group, and they can disseminate that from there.
yeah.
Good idea. Both of them, the Y one and the,
So you can even do the A code too.
Sorry, and April, why not?
Well, you know, I do feel there is a untapped group of people like somewhere around 30.
We do send this out internally to all staff, like 1,000 people, but not to the following up with the parents and the general public after, so. Will do.
Well, it shows that we're working at recruiting.
Got it. Courses, yeah.
That's off to Mr. Sloan. That's off to Mr. Sloan. That was just incredible.
Well, and the whole, yes, and the whole team there.
So we're going to look at items 2 and 3.
Before we do that, I just want to comment on the celebrations about he had on there the North Peace meal for Christmas.
Sorry.
More and more schools I see are doing that. I went to a few this year, and I think that's a celebration. Like, for example, Bell Donald's Pat put it on for the whole school.
Yeah.
And it was a celebration to show them that, you know, they really appreciate their school. So
Yeah.
I think it's a good way to celebrate that they are internally, you know, getting back to celebrations like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Other COVID.
And I know Taylor, like they went to the senior banquet they had down there and did some caroling and stuff for the seniors there. So it's good that they do that.
It is.
Right, so we got that in Mr. Hand. We need to do that. All right, let's take a look at the out-of-district sports and field trips, January to June.
Questions, what season it is? I'm just.
Yeah. And just trustees will recall, Sharon has tried to split it into two
Yeah.
dates, but we're always gonna miss some on either side that need some immediate approval.
Well, Roosley's getting a workout.
It is.
Down February 14th. I don't know if public's allowed to watch the skills dance competition. That would be interesting to know because that would be. Seventy international students going hiking. I went, holy.
Well, I thought the Quebec trip is pretty cool. That must be the whole grade 6.
Yeah.
with these students.
Sure.
Okay. Next, can I please have a mover for the motion that the Board of Education approve the attached out-of-district field trips as presented? Moved by Madeline, seconder David. Any further discussion? All in the question then, all in favor? Community coaches. Please have someone make the motion that the Board of Education approve the attached community coaches as presented. Moved by Madeline. Seconded by Ida. Right.
Thank you.
Discussion. I looked at this and I thought it was pretty interesting that principals are getting really tricky. All sports, here, I've got you for this one, I'm putting you down for all.
That makes sense.
I laugh, I thought it was really cute. Any other discussion? All right, calling the question then, all in favor?
Thank you.
Right. Concludes our superintendent's report. And we will move on to the secretary.
Thank you. For my report today, I have the finance update to December 31st, 2024. Just in preparation of the budget season for 2025-26, is the process is attached. There's a link to the statement of financial information on our website. So that's the link to our website for the 23-24 school year. And then there is the HR support staff summary. That is my report.
All right. Could I please have a motion to accept Angela's report? Moved by Ida, seconded by David. Discussion now around Angela's report, and we'll start with the finance update.
The EA is lower than expected. Is that because we can't bill?
Great question. I put lower than expected because we were expecting 40%, but when we come in at December, sometimes it's a combination of not enough vacation to take that break off in December, or so
Could be several different factors.
it could have been, I didn't budget correctly, right? It's kind of based on the previous year, and this is what we've actually hired. So I looked at that as well and tried to figure it out, but it's a combination, I think.
Why do they sign off KPMG LLC, not a signature? Just, it's like a statement.
For the audit?
Yeah.
I don't know. That is a great question. I think, well, it is just a stamp. It represents their organization as,
Okay, I was reading through and I just kind of, that's all.
yeah, as a legal.
I don't want my name on that, but the company can be.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't quite take it that way, but I'll ask him. How about I ask him?
We do have a chunk of anticipated revenue coming in to deal with those minuses at the bottom, right?
And again, yeah, and 167, when you, like, with an $80 million budget is not, it's not terrifying, but yeah, these are the preliminary budgets. We still haven't received an update for the revenue. We'll be getting that at the end of December, or of January, and it usually comes in mid-December, so it's 6 weeks is quite a time differential. So, and then it'll come in January, and then we'll put in our new numbers for February, so it should be just in time to be updated again. So we're excited.
And it's kind of weird that Alberta is not coughing up for the kids.
I was thinking it's all because what could happen is you could have them in place on the next.
The students?
Well, no, also, well, I guess your year end is the 31st of June, but it's still kind of.
Yeah, I have to check with, I have to check where we're at. Sometimes they're right on it, and then obviously this year they're not, because they're here, so what's the hurry? So we'll check into that. Hopefully it's just sitting, could have been in the mail somewhere, and they're just catching up. I know they'll pay up. They're good, they're good.
There's lots being blamed on the mail.
I tried it. It was my first time blaming the mail, so.
Not sure if I'm gonna go for that one, though.
It was a reach, guys.
Operating budget consultation dates are out there. So we will make sure that that public meeting on the 6th of May goes into calendars and announcements and reminders. Angela would like friends. That's all.
Sorry, Helen, what did you just say about May the 6th?
May the 6th is the public presentation for the budget and gathering information for the budget.
Okay.
Is the gathering not more through the survey?
Yeah. And there it will be, yeah, to add to what hopefully we'll collect from public surveys, because there's lots of times people can ask different questions in a public meeting. Any questions related to the Sophie report?
So the Sophie report reports all employees over 75,000 and all vendors over 25,000.
Don't see any questions popping up. We'll look at your human resources support staff summary. Any questions for Angela? Getting diligent. All right, calling the question then, all in favor? Thank you. All right, moving on to reports of our regular committee of the whole meeting of January the 13th. This is just a week ago, pages 19 and 20 in your package. Mikey's gonna move her into seconder, moved by David, seconded by Bill. Are there any errors or omissions? Question it, all in favor? Rising from the minutes. Our action item there is a long-term look at CM Finch Rink. Particularly in business for rising. Moving on to item 10.3, we're looking at policy committee. And the first policy that we're looking at has there's 3 policies that have already been out for notice of motion. Was there any feedback from the public on those policies that went out for notice of motion? Right. The Trustee Witten moved that the Board of Education adopt the revised policy 4006.1 support staff benefits, STD and LTD. And basically what we were doing in that was updating our language to reflect the language that's currently in place with our companies, our processes. So could I please get a seconder for that? Seconded by Ida. Any further discussion regarding this policy update before I call the question? Right, calling the question then, all in favor? The policy is updated. Let's take a look at policy 4001, benefits and retirement, and this policy was moved for deletion. Motion was for deletion, so I need a seconder for it, seconded by Madeline, Trustee Lehman. And basically, this is no longer in need because MSP has changed how they do things. So calling the question then, all those in favor of deleting this policy? That policy is deleted. Looking now at policy 5006.1, level 2 first aid. It was initially moved by Trustee Campbell that the Board of Education adopt the revised policy 5006.1, level 2 first aid. I need a seconder for this. Seconded by Trustee Scott Moncrief. Any further discussion? Calling the question in, all in favor? Policy 4006. We're looking at update to this policy, and we're looking to put it out for notice of motion. So could I please have someone make the notice of motion that policy 4006 support staff annual vacation go out? Moved by trustee Campbell. Health and safety. Policy 5006. Could I please have someone move that the Board of Education issue a notice of motion for the adoption of policies 5006 health and safety? Moved by trustee Snow. Right, that would go out for notice of motion. Moving on to policy 5000 and 5011. That the Board of Education issue a notice of motion for this policy, emergency situations on site vehicles. Could I have a mover for that? Moved by trustee Scott Moncrief. That will go out for notice of motion. And backup warning devices for district vehicles. This is a policy that we are looking to delete because our vehicles come with it. So could I please have someone move that the Board of Education issue a notice of motion for the deletion of policy 5013 backup warning devices for district vehicles? Trustee Campbell. Any feedback? All right. So moving on to item number 11 of our agenda, be it BCSTA updates. Anything from you, trustee Gillis?
No, just that I will be attending a virtual provincial council February 22nd, I believe it is. And I'm hoping before that I'm going to get some emails and some information about something. So I don't know if Ida is still getting all the emails because I'm not getting anything.
No, I haven't gotten anything.
Okay. Okay, well, I plan to attend virtually and I'm sure I'll hear about it beforehand.
Good. All right. As mentioned earlier, I attended a board chair call, and much of the board chair call was about cybersecurity, and there was certainly an urgency to it. And because we just at our committee of the whole had a presentation from our technology department, I knew most of what they were talking about and some of the terms and things like that. I gave you the slides that Jennifer Ray referenced, and one on slide number 5, it notes that boards of education have the responsibility and legal accountability for the implementation and management of their district security policies and standards. And it was suggested on the call that boards put in place an annual review of district policies and processes related to cybersecurity because it is such a shifting field. They also suggested that we make sure we'd sign a retainer for an incident response team. There was lots of things that were covered in our presentation from Jason and Lori, but some of the things on this call that I found quite surprising was the concept that the government gets 1 billion hits a day looking for people trying to break into the system. And one of the things, there's been 4 districts targeted, and there really hasn't been much information that's come back out about those districts that were targeted. On this board chair call, both New Westminster and Cowichan spoke to their experience. The concept was that in some of them, because ransomware was involved, they had to sign a non-disclosure agreement when everything was worked out. So that's one of the reasons we haven't necessarily heard as much feedback back as we have on other things. But what was stressed is that payment of ransom comes from public dollars provided to school districts. There isn't a pot that the ministry is going to come in and pay. And their suggestion was that any of those hits to security, it's going to be up to $1 million to recover and figure things out. So, and again, the line that was there was, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Interestingly enough, on this call, it was pointed out that the 4 districts that have been hit all fit into that medium-sized district. You're not necessarily targeting larger districts that might have a robust IT department and measures in place, or smaller districts that might not have a lot of capital to tap. They're kind of going through that middle. Now, that was one thought that came up in it. Cowichan Valley, in their presentation, said that the threat actor, that was a new term, the threat actor played around in the system for 6 weeks before they caused damage, and that quite often they get in and they have a really good look around for a bit to figure out what they're going to do. Cowichan gets up to 65,000 hit threats a day their system is managing. But what she really spoke about is the human toll when the systems were down for 5 weeks on the finance department and all of the departments like your Maya, BC, and everything else, how crippled they were and how long it took to recover from it. The reminder that the Financial Standing Committee presentations will be in place again this year. They weren't last year because it was an election year. And so reminder for us to start thinking about what we would like to say to the Financial Standing Committee. I think the BCSTA is hoping every single district will come up with something for the Financial Standing Committee. This board has a long history of presenting, but other districts didn't seem to know about this process. And Carmen Batista said to watch out for the fact that there will be a significant package coming out to changes to the bylaws that will come up at AGM, quite a large package. And then they said, there's so much going on in February, get prepared for 2 board chair calls in February. So, yes.
Just if I can on the cybersecurity, just
Yeah.
a reminder to trustees and public that in the October online report, as well as in the agenda package for October, is that 10-point slide on what SD60 is doing around cybersecurity, as well as the policy that goes along, just to go along with what you were saying there for background information. Thank you.
Any questions? BCPC, Trustee Lehman.
Not too much share. There is, I guess, a new SharePoint for members. They're trying this out, I'm thinking this week. They're gonna try and put on weekly, kind of capturing various items, and instead of just emailing, I have to admit, I'm looking, I've seen the SharePoint, but I haven't, because it's just starting this week. I got the invite, but I haven't searched around too hard yet. Anything. They have for the AGM. What's gonna be there to vote on? At this point, there's 4 regions. They're gonna have 4 candidates, but there is no elections at this point because there's in every region there's just 1 candidate.
And I have had reach out to see about encouraging people from the NIB to run so that there is an election.
I'll have more to report after the AGM.
One point I forgot to mention about artificial intelligence when we're talking about it. The government has not allowed Microsoft Copilot to be turned on in their system. They're using Microsoft 365 like we are, but they are not allowing anybody within the system to use it. Just because of controlling ransom attacks. And Board Pro D, what we'll be taking a look at is what you shared after Academy and some of the things that we've already talked about for advance. That's where we're at with them. Yep.
Checked in with Lori and Jason, and they're ready to, when we find a date, to offer a brief piece around AI as well as a follow-up to some of the specific tools that they mentioned.
Thank you. We'll come up with a date for that.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to correspondence. We have a letter from Stephen in relationship to the district Christmas dinner and dance. And then I got a request about a dental kind of thing, and I just turned it over to Stephen with the operational, and I don't know where you're at on that one.
Yeah, I reached out to Abby right away, and I believe they have a meeting coming up. She's going to let me know when it is and include me in that. They'll be looking for 3 schools to participate, and I'll set her up to find those schools.
Okay. And then because the ministry of, it should just be the Ministry of Infrastructure and is a new thing. And it's going to be back and forth. There'll be some aspects that are currently under the umbrella of the Ministry of Education. Before Christmas, they sent out a letter just trying to explain what was going to go on. Somebody could help me understand what a vertical project is?
The buildings.
I know what horizontal is, but I was delivering for vertical provincial capital projects, so that meant we have some horizontal. Maybe that's an Angela question.
On this spot.
I don't have a
Nice.
response for you. I don't know. So that was just for your information. And then unfinished business. I had mentioned that I had been to a Northeast Roundtable and are sequenced and will be transferred at different times. There are still ongoing conversations too about land selections for sightseeing. It's an interesting thing. So they transfer priorities for 2024 are there. And then the upcoming implementation priorities are given. And our Cameron Lake parcel is not mentioned at this point. David.
Sorry, just going back. It is buildings. Just look it up.
Oh, thank you. Building up. Okay.
Very good guess.
The next meeting for that is in February. So, under new business, I asked for the mandate letters for both the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Infrastructure be added to our packages. We had, when the ministers were appointed, everybody had the concept that the 4 things of growing the economy, reducing costs for families, strengthening healthcare, and community safety were basically going to be part of everybody's mandate. But then this mandate's more specific to each ministry. Those letters came out Thursday or Friday. And so we've included the one for the Minister of Education and Childcare and the Minister of Infrastructure. There are some other ministries too that relate to our work. There's a rural communities minister as well. We'll bring that one back to advanced day. But one of the messages in everything that's going on is the fact that there's not going to be a lot of new money. We are in a time where we're going to be looking for budget constraints and overall efficiency. And it will shake out for us. I was pleased to see the concept in the minister's mandate letter that they're going to work to expedite the certification and deployment of new and experienced international and domestic teachers, because hopefully that's going to mean some changes to our teacher education program. Do you know anything about a Center of Excellence in Applied Research and
Nope.
Professional Development?
No, I read that.
That's new in here, and
It
I
is, yeah.
have no background on that at all.
So that might be a built-in for the new minister.
And then there is the one for the Minister of Infrastructure. And it's interesting, the concept that one of the things they want to do with this new ministry is make sure perhaps that in one single community, you can align some of your building processes, but you don't set it up for, say, you've got a health project that's going to take all your construction workers and you schedule an education in time. So you can't get either done on a timely manner. Like, there's, to me, some sense in what they're trying to do with this ministry, but how it plays out and where it goes. I found the concept of standardization of infrastructure like schools, that's not anything new. That's been around for a little bit. So there are your mandate letters. Yes, our mandate letters.
Yeah.
The right terminology, and we don't have anybody from the PRNTA with us tonight. Or CUPE, or DPAC. So it's time for questions from the press and the public related to agenda items. And we ask that if you have a question, you let us know who's asking the question.
Gwen Borden, and I had a question regarding the lands that they transfers it and stuff, and I was just wondering, you said that about the only one that really was going to affect us would probably be the West Moberly, because
Because our outdoor education site, Cameron Lake, has been part of Crown land. And the appropriate ministries renewed our contract for the Cameron Lake education site for 30 years. And then this process kicked in. And because it's Crown land, Moberly Lake has asked for it as an addition to their reserves. And as a board, we're caught, it's going to be a more complex transfer process because they have to recognize our investment in the assets that we have at Cameron Lake. And we're quite interested in continuing with Cameron Lake, but we would like the same kind of landlord terms that we have currently with the Crown, which is like $1 a year, because we're not paying a lot of rent to use that site. We're able to put stuff into improvements and services for kids, and what we want is the same kind of deal. So
there was no other ones that are mentioned at maybe the other reserves and the land transfers. There are no other school projects that are in those areas?
No, there is some land in Hudson Hope, and they were calling it the Hudson Hope School Site, but it has absolutely nothing to do with us. And they've actually changed what they're calling that because it was causing some confusion.
Good.
Any other questions? Well, thank you as always for coming. We quite like this. having people. So could I please get a motion to suspend our regular meeting and move into camera? Moved by trustee Snow and trustee Scott Moncrief, all in favor? Leah, could you please pause the recording? Could I please have a motion that the in-camera motions be brought forward for implementation? Mover, Ida, seconder, Madeline, all in favor? Carried. And now can I get a motion to adjourn, please? Moved by Bill, seconded by David. Calling the question, all in favor? Leah, please stop the recording.